Alright guys, welcome back to another Omnia video where we are going to talk about Arciela's LD weapon, the next LD weapon to be dropped in Global Omnia with the release of Arciela's Lost Chapter. This video is mainly going to go in depth for what her LD weapon does, what it brings to the party, and then we're going to go into her LD call, and afterwards I'm going to talk about my opinions on her and how I felt like she lasted in my roster of characters that I have on my JP account. And then finally I'm gonna end it off with a link to a video that was done by Rem from the Dissidia database, who brings up a bug that potentially may still come to Global Omnia because it has not been fixed in JP, and we are thinking that it might be something permanent, but we will talk about that towards the end of this video. The gameplay that you see in the background is Arciela's actual Lost Chapter fight, but I'm gonna make a separate video on the Lufenia fight for her Lost Chapter because there's a couple things you need to pay attention to, look out for, etc, etc. So as always, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for future content, share this video around to others so that way they know whether or not they should pull for Arciela's LD weapon. So Arciela's LD weapon is called Aldolin Ring, and I apologize if I mispronounced that. It equips the LD ability called Unceasing Dread. It is an 8-hit AoE Magic Brave plus AoE HP attack. It increases the Brave damage dealt towards a single target by a medium amount, and it allows for 150% Stolen Brave Max Brave Overflow, which deals 4 HP damage to all targets. It inflicts the debuff called Capacity Break to all targets for 2 actions, and it recovers 1 usage to Dissension and Sight Unseen after usage, which is her skill 1. The debuff Capacity Break prevents Brave recovery for the enemies, and it also increases the HP damage received from the inflictor by 20%. So even if it's Arciela or somebody who is using her as an LD call, you will receive that bonus for that HP damage received of that 20%. Her LD extension for her LD ability, when you are using the Unceasing Dread, it increases the Brave potency by a large amount. It increases the Brave damage dealt towards debuffed enemies, and it increases the Stolen Brave Max Brave Overflow limit by 30%, going up to 180% instead of 150%. Now, when using her LD call, the only thing that was not mentioned when I talked about her LD ability earlier is that it increases her own max brave by 40% and her attack by 60% when she is called upon. Now we'll talk about the limit break passes for her LD weapon. At 1 out of 3 for Unceasing Dread power, it increases the own initial brave by 10% and attack by 20%, and it increases the brave damage dealt by her LD ability by 10%. At 2 out of 3, when you are using her LD ability, it extends the base duration of Capacity Break, the debuff that is implemented after using her LD ability, by 2 actions. So instead of 2 actions, it'll be extended to 4 actions. And then finally, once you max out her LD weapon, you will be getting an extra use to her LD ability. Next, we'll talk about Arciela's call and LD call. For her regular call, which is Dissension and Sight Unseen, which is a skill 1, all targets receive the following debuffs: Max Brave and Speed down for 3 actions, and they also get an HP attack disable for 1 action. For her LD call, Unceasing Dread, it increases the Brave damage dealt to debuff targets by 50%. The Stolen Brave can overflow up to 150% of the Max Brave. Targets get inflicted with the Capacity Break debuff that lasts for 2 actions, and the Capacity Break increases the HP damage taken from the caster by 20%, and it prevents Brave gain on the enemy. So after acquiring Arciela's LD weapon in my Japanese account, overall, I didn't really use Arciela too often. She was actually one of the LD weapons, one of the very few LD weapons that I felt like I didn't really need in the roster of characters that I had at the time. And even up to right now, I don't remember the last time that I've ever actually used Arciela. When I completed the Lufenia fight for her lost chapter, I actually did not use her for the fight because she actually made the fight a little bit harder for me. And again, I will get into that in a separate video when I do an overview of this Lufenia fight. But I actually went with somebody else instead of Arciela to be able to control the Lufenia orb, because it was actually making it much more difficult for her own fight. But there is ways to make it so that she can actually benefit the actual fight. But you know, we'll get into that another time. But in general though, for Arciela and where she stands right now, I mean, the only nice thing about her with her LD is the fact that she prevents the enemy from recovering any type of brave. But once we start getting deeper and deeper into these Lufenia fights, as Global starts continuing down the route of the Lufenia era, we're going to be encountering a lot of bosses that do cleanse a lot sometimes, or probably all the time, or maybe they won't even let themselves get cleansed or get debuffed. So Arciela's debuff, it actually hurts her a little bit, and it hurts her in battle. The only big positive thing that I see about Arciela as of right now is that she is another Kefka in a way, where she basically has the HP silence on her kit. She is able to provide some party buffs to a party, or excuse me, to the party. But other than that though, I mean, Arciela, you know, I'm not gonna, you know me, I'm not gonna say whether or not to pull for her. You know, you guys can decide on that. But like, in my opinion, at least for the global side of Omnia, I am most likely going to skip her LD weapon because I don't feel like I need it. And again, with some of the characters that I got going on right now with global, and especially with a certain global first LD weapon that we got at the beginning of our 3rd anniversary, I really don't think that I am going to be going for Arciela's LD weapon, because it doesn't really catch my attention. At the time, you know, it was like, oh my god, a new weapon, a new LD weapon, let's go for it. But as of right now, I mean, you know, if you need a character, like if you're a new player and if you're needing a character that is able to give you a little bit of extra damage for Arciela herself, if you were to combine her with, like, say, Hope, who is getting that magic resist down from the debuff, you know, that could be a pretty good combo right there. But just like herself, you know, she could be good for like HP silence and all the other stuff that she does with her kit. But other than that, you know, she doesn't really stand out like a lot of these other characters, or a lot of these other characters do right now. So in my opinion, I mean, she's alright. I'm not gonna say she's bad. She definitely has her uses. She is not a bad character. She has her uses, but she is not a character that I see myself pulling anytime soon or using anytime soon. Finally, let's briefly talk about the bug that is happening right now with Arciela in both the JP and the global side. So to sum it up, Arciela can provide up to 120% party max brave up through her buff attack boost all passives, thanks to a previously unknown bug. Its effects are tripled in a full party, and this also includes attack. Now, the video that I will link down in the description of this video in a pinned comment is going to basically give a full detailed explanation to kind of show what it is that Rem from DB is talking about. And you're gonna notice also that Arciela is not the only one that has this bug yet, and we don't know if this is a temporary bug, if this is a permanent bug, or if they intentionally decided to leave it as it is. But it's something that was recently discovered, and again, that video will be down in a pinned comment and in the video description. Make sure to check that out so that you know what I'm talking about. And I mean, hey, you might even be able to take advantage of this bug until they discover it and decide that they want to fix it, unless, again, this is intentional or not, but we'll see. So other than that though, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. I mean, you know, Arciela's LD weapon, you know, it's an alright LD weapon, but it's not one that I myself am gonna be chasing for anytime soon. So let me know in the comment section below what you think about Arciela, if you're gonna be picking up her kit or not. Expect a video soon on the overview for this Lufenia fights, so that way you can be prepared for this. And other than that though, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for future content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video.